I want everybody to see the censorship in this country. Impeach Trump protesters come here every day and have never been arrested. But I'm arrested today because I have this sign. That's the attack on free speech in this country. That's the two-tier justice system that we're dealing with. If you're impeached Trump liberal Democrat protester, you get to come here every day with no consequence. But I have security all over me because I'm standing here silently. And if that doesn't show you the attack on free speech, if that doesn't show you the two-tiered system, I don't know what will.
All right, y'all, so Owen Schroyer just got arrested. No one can tell us here why the impeached Trump protesters are allowed to stand out here and demonstrate, but Owen Schroyer is not.
There is a warrant out for my arrest with allegations involving January 6th.
Our right don't come from authority. It comes from the Bible. So the authority does not have the right over the Constitution. We talk about the constitutional law, the First, Second Amendment, the U.S. Constitution that was given to us by our forefathers. Tate Reed can't take it away. Mayor Eric Simmons can't take it away, nor the police officers. They can't. So y'all, this is happening in Greenville, Mississippi, the poorest part of the United States of America. It's more killing in Greenville, more drugs on the corner, and look where the police officers at. Look what they had a church.
You didn't know that this was coming. Why were you there in position?
You're seeing, Laura, what you're seeing behind me is one of multiple locations that have been burning in Kenosha, Wisconsin over the course of the night. A second night since Jacob Blake was seen shot in the back 7 times by a police officer. And what you are seeing now, these images came and come in stark contrast to what we saw over the course of the daytime hours in Kenosha and into the early evening, which were largely peaceful demonstrations.
Guilty.
What the fuck, bro? Man!
Put your head on you, man.
What the fuck are you doing?
So you getting arrested for not wearing a mask?
Yeah. I walked inside and said, hey man, what's going on? I was 2 feet in the fucking door.
The issue is really not with the rank and file officers. They're following orders to not intervene. So I have been assaulted and criminally harassed before the mob beat, and people were throwing milkshakes at my face and head within eyesight of police who were watching.
Disinformation is a national security term. It invites the force of our own national security apparatus to silence Trump supporters.
Police are squabbling with protesters. Oh, there we go. Raise your back up. This is our damn Capitol building, and y'all are letting it get destroyed on your watch.
In the 21st century, it has become increasingly vital to us conservatives are careful with who we trust. If we were to assume that the Republican establishment has had our back, we would assume that the 21st century has been a large conservative victory. However, it has been vindicated that Republicans have been pushing people who don't have our back. We have had full control of Congress presidency multiple times throughout the century, and yet haven't gained ground in any single legal area, not a single political area have we gained ground in. We have been having spineless losers promoted to us who are backstabbers. The same thing goes for the Supreme Court. When is the last time we saw a Supreme Court ruling that was based in the Constitution? Because in the Supreme Court, which has been largely Republican appointed for the entirety of the 21st century, we've gotten rulings such as the upholding of affirmative action, the declaration that students could lead prayer over intercom, the upholding of the Affordable Care Act, the upholding of DACA, the striking down of law that required television operators to block sexual content, the establishment that simulated child pornography was free speech, the declaration that anti-sodomy laws are unconstitutional, which is absurd because the people that made the Constitution supported anti-sodomy laws as well as they support our son and all these other things I've listed. And they also declared that states are required to recognize gay marriage. The Supreme Court has been exactly like the Congress and exactly like the entirety of the Republican establishment who has been promoting people who backstab us and have led to our doom and our demise. It was no surprise that after the election of Donald Trump, someone outside the conservative establishment, many controlled opposition members tried to co-opt his message in order to return the party back to its losing form. Largely they were successful. Donald Trump trusted certain figures too closely, and they ended up backstabbing him. After the 2020 election, we saw him having to do a bunch of damage control and trying to excommunicate many members. However, a lot of their plan was already executed to their goal. In recent years, following racial violence, black imperialism, different anarchist, militant communists, the Republican establishment has been promoting police. Well, on its surface, this actually makes sense because police are inherently conservative in the fact that they are sacrificing themselves to bring order, which is quintessential to conservative philosophy, and to maintaining and serving the nation. However, time and time again, we have seen police not enforcing order and not stopping militant communists in their pursuit of destroying the country. It seems the only time they do actually anything is whenever the people in charge of them force them to force off a curfew. None of them ever step in against the chaos because the structure seems to be keeping them from doing so. And I'll ask you a quick question. Let's just assume for a second that the Republican establishment is promoting backstabbers in the police force, just like how they're promoting backstabbers in Congress, in the federal branches, and Supreme Court. Let's assume they're also doing that in police. What is the danger in us being told to believe and trust the police who have far more power than us, and them executing the orders of the satanic state? There is so much danger in that. And assuming that is true, which we'll get into, we need to be wary of police. This does not mean we should take out police, because police are nothing but the executors of those that are evil. If those that are in charge of them are good, then the police will be good. Again, we'll get into this later. So now we're going to pose the question of what's really important to us, because we know that the people in government are satanic and evil and hate us, and we know they want us dead. Because if you don't believe me, look at how the news covers whenever Trump gets like COVID or something. Look at how they cover. They're hoping us conservatives die. Look at how they talk when they say we should go take them out. We should go get them, and we're gonna impeach them tonight. And you should, if you see any of them, like all this like very violent and encouraging violence rhetoric that we see from the Democrat Party, they want us dead. So we know the people in charge hate us. So what we need to know is, are the police going to stand by their role, their supposed role in enforcing order and following the Constitution? Or is it more likely that they're going to execute orders from those that we've already established and we all know to hate us? When framing this question, I find it important to know what are the benefits versus what are the disadvantages for police enforcing order, bringing order, following what is right, following the Constitution. Well, what we've seen is even if police are following the Constitution, they're still going to get prosecuted a lot of the time. Or they'll get excommunicated from the force. Or they'll get killed by the mob for trying to establish order. I mean, these people want to come home to kids and to their family. They don't want to die in the same way we don't want to die. Now, while we may think it is their duty to sacrifice themselves in like a masculine way to protect others, we need to wonder whether this is what's going to happen in reality. Because if they do decide not to protect us, what is the worst that's going to happen? Like, actually, what is the worst that's going to happen? Literally nothing. Nothing will happen to them. Nothing. This isn't to say I think we should go attack them or anything, because again, I think the issue is with the elite commanding them. But the point is, in all likelihood, they are going to be enforcing orders. If you don't believe me, just look at what's happened over the summer of 2020. The police were, even in Mississippi, a super Republican area, super conservative area, an area that's super keen on the Constitution. They're shutting down churches. They were forcing people to be masked. And soon, they're going to force you to be vaxxed. It's already starting in some states. They're carrying out orders. And I ask you, whenever they start forcing police officers to be vaccinated, as we've seen Biden say he wants to do, and as we've seen multiple forces start doing, as that starts happening, how many police officers are going to remain who are not complacent in a tyrannical state? Those that wish to act against tyranny, wish to follow the Constitution, etc. How many of those are going to remain? The truth is, those that are actually not complacent in that stuff and want to resist are going to leave the force because they're not going to want to take the vaccine. So here's the question. How many of them that are willing to stand up to the state are going to remain? Virtually none. And what we're being told right now by the Republican establishment is we need to trust them because we need to back them, which we should back the role of police, but that's not the thing that's really important here. The thing is, we need to be arming ourselves. We need to be keen on our own protection. We need to know that they're not going to protect us. We need to know that we do not have an ally in them. We need to know that whenever we go to these events and Antifa is beating our skulls, they're not going to help us. And even when we do fight back, that the security state is still going to come after us. I mean, just look at how they've let free all these different people who have committed crimes and how they have openly targeted and prosecuted people like Kyle Rittenhouse, who just defended himself. I mean, it's a big concern talking point about the differentiation in the punishment for that one black school shooter and Kyle Rittenhouse, who just defended himself. What this tells us is the legal system is skewed against us. It is skewed against conservatives. It is skewed against those who are going to stand up for their ground. So I ask you, those who have extremely high standards and are being pressured by the legal system constantly in the police, there is not going to be many conservative officers left, or many conservative, not even just conservatives, any officers that will stand up for what is right. We are going to see, as we have been seeing for a large time, police following orders, because it is simply the truth that they are enforcers of the state. Now, this isn't inherently a bad thing, but it is a danger whenever that state wants us dead, whenever that state is led by militant communists who control the media and control the military-industrial complex and control all these complexes that are made to prosecute us and are made to make us out to be villains and drive militant communists to bash our heads into the ground. It is absolutely a danger to look at this and not be worried, to be told that we don't have to defend ourselves and to be mind-numbed by all these things to tell us that we shouldn't defend ourselves because the police will save us or whatever. And just listen to what they say. They say, we're not going to come out and save you. They say it openly. Again, I don't reject the concept of elitism or police. I think we need police. That's why I'm so against backing the blue right now, is because they aren't doing what police are supposed to be doing. They aren't enforcing order. Even in Mississippi, Alabama, Texas, you get the most conservative areas, you're still going to be having Antifa members beating you in the skull and having the police do nothing. I mean, if you want to, just look at Jackson, Mississippi. It became, like, I believe per capita, it was the murder rate per capita became, I believe, because the police wouldn't arrest anyone who just shot people. It became a total anarchist state. This will happen in all the other states. And that this multicultural, multi-ethnic salad, American salad, it's not a melting pot, the American salad is breeding towards racial imperialism, and as American white people are becoming the minority.
And for the first time in American history, the number of white people went down.
And as they are openly saying that you should hate yourself for being white, that you're openly evil for being white, and are openly calling for your death from things like COVID, and are wishing for you to die, because they know that white people are the most likely people to stand up to their BS, we are going to start seeing even more racial imperialism and racial clashing. And this will facilitate our doom unless we understand that we need to defend ourselves, unless we understand that we do not have the ally in the police, that they do not have our backs. We can back the blue, but they do not back us. Not at all, okay? And as long as they aren't backing us, I don't know why we need to be backing them. Because selling allegiance to them is selling a death wish. And it makes perfect sense why the Republican establishment would do this if we've looked at what has been happening. And if you understand, if you still don't believe me on, like, let's say you don't believe me on the whole imperialism thing and how they're going to come after us, I'll ask you this. What has happened in every single Marxist country to ever exist? We call these people Marxists, we call these people communists. What has happened in every communist country to ever exist? The killing of the obstacles against them. Now I'll ask you about this. Everyone knows life begins at conception, even liberals. And listen to the arguments that they use for abortion. It's, I can kill a life that's inconvenient to me. Even if it's post-birth, a lot of them believe this. I can kill a life that's inconvenient to me. Are we not inconvenient to them and their communist worldview? We are. They're going to kill us if we don't start defending. If we don't, like, openly defend ourselves and get ready, they're going to kill us. From 1917 to 1987, just a span of 70 years, it's estimated that the USSR and China combined killed over 100,000 of its own citizens. Because the utopia stemming from a revolution of militant people inevitably means the killing of obstacles of the stronger. Because they know we're stronger. They know that if we take them on hand in hand, we would win because they're weak soy boy communists. So what they have to do is they have to utilize a system and utilize militant states to give them legal protections and to not step in and enforce order, and often, in many cases, to go against us, to become the new militant state that is implicitly anti-us. And if you don't believe me that police won't act in our favor, look across what is happening in all these states. Nothing has happened towards liberals for doing anything. Nothing has happened to any of them. Sometimes they'll get arrested, sure. But what happens after they get arrested? What happens after they get arrested? Nothing. They get released. They get allowed back to committing violence. It has become clear that we can't trust police at this moment, and we do need to be backing up. We do need to be supporting the role of enforcing order, stability, what is inherently conservative stability. We do need to be embracing that. And that is why we don't need to be embracing police, because they aren't bringing that. They aren't. And the phraseology of what we are espousing is an allegiance that will inherently lead to our demise. In the same way that us talking about the privacy of their own home, Frankfurt School of Economics stuff that comes from the Communist Handbook, stuff that was literally made for our lot, for the death of the country, because from globalist has led to the demise of the country. The same way that multi-ethnic multiculturalism has led to demise of the country, as we've been promoted to say phraseology such as the melting pot of ideas, or I just don't support illegal immigration or whatever. We've been told all this stuff for our demise. It has become clear that the Republican establishment is complacent too in the bringing of the New World Order. Even George Bush talks about the New World Order. Lots of Republican politicians talk about wanting a New World Order. And if you don't believe me, look at how they go to wars with other countries to try and punish them, or how they bring in different religions, different people, different cultures. They want an entire American continent government. They support things like the UN because they're globalist, and they want the nation to die. And the truth is, in order for the nation to die, the majority of people have to die. In order for the nation to die, the people who are the most patriotic, the most nationalistic, have to die. So we are a roadblock to them. We are a roadblock to those ordering the police to give orders. And as the less and less and less people who will come out against tyranny exist in the security state, we need to be less and less trustful of the security state, or else we'll die. And that is why Back to Blue, at this moment, will kill you.
Hey guys, just want to say sorry about the lack of uploads recently. I have had so much schoolwork, so much things after school, different sorts of things that I've been doing. It's really been keeping up my schedule, keeping it back. I have such a long list of videos I want to make that I just haven't gotten to make. There's also things where this video, I was really struggling finding things to put over the video, because a lot of what I wanted to put would have ended up getting the video restricted for showing violence or something like that. So it was very hard finding things I could put over the video, and that took a long time. And I just want to say sorry about that. I plan on having another upload coming out soon, and more uploads will come along the way. I'm hard at work right now trying to get you guys content, and trying to get this out as soon as possible, trying to get the rest of my content out as soon as possible. So, see you guys, and also, I am thinking about getting this show soon on Spotify now, because I have the means to do so. I just need time to set that up, but I think I could probably do that, get that done. So, if I do, I'll let you guys know of that.